Where we're going, we don't need roads. Gotta get this gimbal working properly here. Hover converted Delorean. Hello folks, Denobi2 here. Thank you for joining me once again on another visual tour. This time I got a little bit creative and decided to modify my Mark I Delorean from Hot Toys. Look, the last several years Hot Toys has teased us with a hover conversion or converted Delorean at the Comic-Con events. There is no pre-order as of yet, as of this video, and we don't know if they're ever going to release a hover converted Delorean from the Hot Toys line. So I decided to make my own, since I'm a little bit impatient, and attempted it, and it came out pretty damn good. First thing is first, it's the wheels. You got to get the wheels off, and I didn't know how to go about doing this. Like, how do I get the wheels off? I experimented, trying to do some research on it, but it turns out all you have to do is grab a flathead screwdriver and carefully, without scratching the hubcaps, pry them off. That's it. Pry them off. I thought for some reason that the hubcaps were molded with the actual frame, and but no, they pop right off. Grab a Phillips head screwdriver and screw the wheel off. That is it. I was kind of blown away. I was like, oh, that's pretty easy. So once I figured that out, pop the screw out, I was then able to kind of use my imagination. Like, okay, how do I get this wheel connected to this point here and give it that hover look? So I went online and found 3D prints that could be molded to accommodate the vision that I want. So I started off with a sketch, and lo and behold, I did find someone who had a pre-existing version, which I used, and I had them printed out. Now, the secret to connecting the wheel back to the body, I discovered, was using this coaxial cable here. It's what you use to plug in, cable TV. I like it because it was pretty sturdy and rigid, and I was able to use my Dremel here to modify it to the length I wanted, and it worked pretty darn good. I got to use a hot glue gun here to glue the parts on together. That's the 3D molded part there that I had a friend of mine create for me, and that's it. It works beautifully. I didn't want to go too heavy into the modification, just in case I wanted to revert back to the original Mark I. I probably will not, just because I'm actually pretty happy with the way this turned out. I realized that I wanted to be really, really careful. I didn't really want to damage the vehicle, just in case I botched something up. But no, it turned out just fine. It really, really did. And with the hot glue gun, it doesn't damage the parts. Now, I ended up using an HDMI cable because I preferred the black look versus I don't have to paint the coaxial cable black. The HDMI cable, it just looks better. It looks more of that futuristic look, and it's just as flexible as the coaxial cable, and it cuts just as easy with my Dremel. So I ended up using that for the front wheels, just because I thought it gave it a better look versus the black wheels. I think I ended up keeping the white coaxial cables because you can't really see it. Now, to achieve the hover lighted effect look, I just used some old IKEA lights that I had laying around, and you do have to pry them open from the plastic. What you want are that little flat panel there with the LED lights, and I used a little bit of a hot glue gun, and I ended up gluing it to the base of the wheel. I mean, it works. As far as the lighted effect and the color light that I wanted, these worked beautifully. There's my glue gun there, my little trusty tool, and you want to string it through the wheel. And depending on how you want to attach it, you could attach it in the center. I ended up attaching it closer to the rim. It really doesn't matter. It's not going to affect the actual light. I did it just because I wanted to get some grip. There it is. I mean, the hot glue gun, it works fine. I honestly do not know if the glue gun will damage any of the paint applications on the actual Hot Toys DeLorean. This is a risk, so if you attempt to do your own modification, do this at your own risk. I don't think I'm going to change it back to the Mark 1. I prefer the hover version look. It just looks cooler, and out of all the 3 films, Back to the Future Part 2 is by far my favorite. It's the one that I grew up with and I have more of the emotional connection. And the 3D part, I mean, it just works. I placed it right above it. It's to create the illusion. I wasn't going for high detail here. I wanted more of the aesthetics. It's kind of hard to explain. I didn't want super high detail. I just wanted to give the illusion that the vehicle is flying and try to get the hover struts as somewhat close to the film accurate version as possible. And one of the challenges I ran into is that I didn't know that the back wheels were bigger than the front wheels. I actually thought they were the exact same size. So that got a little bit tricky, but I mean, overall it still worked out well. I mean, the actual glow effect, the look, I had to do some minor tweaking on that front left wheel to kind of get it balanced out, but I mean, overall it turned out pretty darn good. And I'm gonna get Marty here, and I'm gonna see if I can create a hover illusion here, just to kind of want to get the black box underneath it, just so that you can kind of see how overall the whole project took maybe an hour and a half, and it came out pretty good. And I'm using some clear glasses there to kind of create the illusion. I got Marty there with the hoverboard, and you know, this shot here is like, it's pretty much what sold me. I was like, wow, it's really not that hard to modify a Mark 1 into the hover converted DeLorean, as long as you have the right parts and you kind of know what you're doing. I had to do a lot of guesswork here. There's not a instruction manual on how to convert a Mark 1 Hot Toys. This is a very expensive piece, so I did have a little bit of fear attempting it, but I wanted it. I really want the hover look. And there's just, like I said, at the time of this video is being made, we don't know if Hot Toys will ever release the hover converted DeLorean. So for now, I got mine, and at the end of this year, I'm gonna get a Doc Brown from the year 2015 and a Marty from the 2015. So I'll actually have the vehicle to pose those guys. I'll actually have a Doc Brown and a Marty from the year 2015 that I can actually sit in this vehicle and it'll look good. Now, this is me being silly here. I thought I could create a gimbal to create the hover look, and I almost ended up destroying this thing. It kept sliding off, so I used a rubber pad to kind of keep it there. And I really wanted to create a shot of it in flight mode for you guys, because I like playing with toys, and I like kind of being creative with the shots. And this was dangerous. I ended up stopping 20 minutes just because I didn't have the right proper counterweights, and it looked like it was going to tip over, and the wheels were just zigzaggy, and I was like, you know what, the hell with this, I need to stop this, because I'm going to end up destroying this thing. So I ended up finding a permanent home. I'm going to use the glasses right now for its display, and this is it. This is its permanent look. I got Marty there. I can't wait to get Marty from the future, and Doc Brown from the future. I'm going to pose him right next, to the vehicle in this position. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Guys, Delorean here. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, leave your comments below.